Regardless of whether you are religious, you must take note of the perilous times we now face and the apparentness of a manifestation of destiny is self-fulfilling prophecy. The evidence of this is overwhelming to the eyes and ears. This theme has been propagated through Hollywood and the mainstream media. What you are about to hear is the short history behind a specific subject whose name happens to be the abomination or the abomination. First, just remember the following can be sourced at Wikipedia. Now the following broadcast title, Desolation of an Abomination of Desolation from Wikipedia. The Free Encyclopedia, January 2012. The Abomination of Desolation or desolating sacrilege is a term found in the Hebrew Bible, in the book of Daniel. It also occurs in the book of 1 Maccabees and in the New Testament Gospels. The Hebrew term transliterated is Sequai and the Greek equivalent is T southeast. Biblical occurrences. Hebrew Bible. The phrase Abomination of Desolation is found in 3 texts in the book of Daniel, all within the literary context of apocalyptic visions. Daniel 9:27. And he shall make a firm covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and upon the wing of abominations shall come one that make desolate, and even unto the full end, and that determined shall wrath be poured out upon the desolate. Daniel 11:1. Forces shall stand on his part, and they shall profane the sanctuary, even the fortress, and shall take away the continual burnt offering, and they shall set abomination desolate. Daniel 12:11. From the time that the continual burnt offering or holocaust shall be taken away, and the abomination that make desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days. Gospel's main article, Olivet Discourse. The term is used by Jesus Christ in the Olivet Discourse, according to both the Gospel of Matthew and the Gospel of Mark. In the Matthew account, Jesus is presented as quoting Daniel explicitly. In the Gospel of Mark, the phrase spoken of by Daniel the prophet is absent in earlier manuscripts including the Codex Sinaiticus. Matthew 24:15-16. So when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel, standing in the holy place, let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Mark 13:14. But when you see the abomination of desolation standing where it ought not to be, let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. This verse in the Olivet Discourse also occurs in the Gospel of Luke. Luke 21:20-21. But when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then know that its desolation has come near. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Notice that Luke uses the phrase Jerusalem surrounded by armies in place of the abomination of desolation standing where it ought not to be in Matthew and Mark. Some commentators, including Church Fathers Street Chrysostom, hold that the abomination of desolation is used as a synonymous title for the Roman armies surrounding Jerusalem. In both biblical and rabbinical Hebrew, the word abomination is a familiar term for an idol and therefore may well have the same application in Daniel, which should accordingly be rendered, in agreement with Ezra, by X. 3:4, motionless abomination, or also appalling abomination. The suggestion of many scholars, Hodgman, Nessel, Bevan, and others, that, as a designation for Jupiter, it is simply an intentional perversion of his usual appellation Baal Shem, Lord of Heaven, is quite plausible, as if attested by the perversion of Beelzebub into a Greek version in Mark I 22, as well as the express injunction found in Tosef, baby, Zerah, the I and baby, Zerah, 46a. that the names of idols may be pronounced only in a distorted or abbreviated form. Rabbinical literature. The rabbis as a whole consider that the expression refers to the desecration of the temple by the erection of a Zeus statue in its sacred precincts by Antiochus IV Epiphanes. Some rabbis, however, see in it an allusion to Manasseh, who, as related in Ichron XXXIII 7, set up a carved image in the house of God. The Aggadah narrates that 2 statues were erected, one of which fell over upon the other and broke off its hand. Upon the severed hand the following inscription was found engraved: I sought to destroy God's house, but thou didst lend thy hand to its protection. The 1 Maccabees usage of the term points to the actions of Antiochus IV Epiphanes in the mid-2nd century BC. Specifically, he set up an altar to Zeus in the Second Temple in Jerusalem, and sacrificed swine on it around the year 167 BC. Many modern scholars believe that Daniel 9:27, 11:31 and 12:11 are a prophecy after the event or Verticinium ex eventu relating to Antiochus. Many modern biblical scholars conclude that Matthew 24 minutes and 15 seconds and Mark 13:14 are prophecies after the event about the siege of Jerusalem in AD 70 by the Roman general Titus. When you see Jerusalem being surrounded by armies, you will know that its desolation is near. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let those in the city get out, and let those in the country not enter the city. Luke 21:20-21. Preterist Christian commentators believe that Jesus quoted this prophecy in Mark 13:14 as referring to an event in his first-century disciples' immediate future, such as the siege of Jerusalem in 70 AD. When Jesus first sent disciples see the abomination of desolation standing, then let them that are in Judea flee unto the mountains. Mark 13:14. Some commentators, such as Church Father Street Chrysostom, have understood this to refer to the armies that surrounded Jerusalem and the factions fighting within it which preceded the destruction of the city. In St. Luke's version of Jesus' warning, the abomination is not mentioned, and the sign that it is time to flee Jerusalem is explicitly said to be that Jerusalem would be surrounded by armies. Jeffrey White delivered a sermon at Redeemer Presbyterian Church in New York City called Living in the Last Days, in which he argues the abomination refers to the conquering Roman invaders in 70 AD marching their flag standards into the temple and into the Holy of Holies and proceeding to worship their god Caesar's image that was emblazoned on their standard. It was Caesar and his invading army responsible for the desolation of Jerusalem. One commentator relates the prophecy to the actions of Caligula c. 40 AD when he ordered that a golden statue depicting himself as Zeus incarnate be set up in the temple in Jerusalem. This prospect, however, never came into fruition since he was assassinated in 41 AD along with his wife and daughter. Some scholars, including Hermann de Turenne, see it as another Verticinium ex eventu about Emperor Hadrian's attempt to install the statue of Jupiter Capitolinus on the site of the ruined Jewish temple in Jerusalem, leading to the Bar Kokhba rebellion of 13-135 AD. Peter Bolt, head of New Testament at Moore Theological College, believes that the abomination of desolation in Mark 13 refers to the crucifixion of the Son of God. In other words, Jesus is referring to his own impending death at the hands of the Gentiles. Futurism. Some other interpreters with a futurist perspective think that Jesus' prophecy deals with the literal end times Antichrist. Futurist Christians consider the abomination of desolation prophecy of Daniel mentioned by Jesus in Matthew 24 minutes and 15 seconds and Mark 13:14 as referring to an event in the end time future. when a 7-year peace treaty will be signed between Israel and a world ruler called the Man of Lawlessness, or the Antichrist, affirmed by the writings of the Apostle Paul in 2 Thessalonians. Premillennialism-style futurists like Arthur Pink in his classic work The Antichrist attribute vast portions within the Old and New Testament to this future figure. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Joseph Smith translation of Matthew, states in verse 12 that the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel is concerning the destruction of Jerusalem first in AD 70. Later in the text of the translation it states that the abomination of desolation will again be fulfilled when Jerusalem is again subject to much destruction before the second coming of Christ.
Yes, we can. 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 Thank you, state. Thank you, state. Thank you, state.